Well, how about it, y'all? This is Daniel Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. This afternoon, hopefully we're going to be starting to move our steers into our daily or every 2-day pasture rotation. At least that's the plan. We're going to give it a shot. But basically, I'm going to give them a little bit of a strip pretty much on the side of this hay bale that was left from our sick goats before they moved out of here. We're going to come across and go all the way across the front of this pasture to this perimeter fence over here. But before we do that, I need to get some of this mess cleaned up. I've got some T-posts left over from whenever we put up all our new pig pens that I need to get picked up, just kind of clean up the area. We're gonna hopefully get them moved, get the wire stretched, and then I need to give the goats another bale of hay. So got a good bit to do this afternoon. I only have about 45 minutes to do all this. So we're gonna see if we can get it all done. If not, my to-do list at the house might go on tonight. So let me get busy and we'll get this place cleaned up and hopefully get these steers over here. Alrighty, everything is cleared. Got our step-in post set out. Over here, picked up all this junk. I got this IBC tote that I cut the bottom out of and cut a little hole. Pig's water's overfilling. Let me cut that off real quick. But I cut a hole in it. That way the goats could get in there and get out of the weather. Here's the hole on the top. The goats don't really use it that much, but I can't decide if I want to get rid of it. Could come in handy in a pinch. But just set it in here for right now. We're about to get stringing up our wire. First, I've got to tie on this handle to my reel right here. And then I need to put a piece of wire across here. Keep the steers from going in there. So I think I got a plan here. We're just gonna take, I've got a piece of wire here that's coated. I'm gonna wrap around this post about right there. Tie my wire on here. And then I can hook it into our electric fence. So I guess let me get that rigged up. That'll keep the steers out here. That'll be something good to keep here too, to keep the horses and stuff going through there. The goats will jump over our 2 wires over here. But the horses or the steers, they're probably just gonna try to step over it and they might get their foot hooked, destroy all this, not to mention they're gonna get hurt. So we'll probably make this wire and just leave it here. It'll be good something to have here. To keep the larger animals out of the pig pens. Just gonna take some wire off this reel and cut it. I'm gonna hook this on the other side of the insulator so I don't get shocked, so I can tie this on and get it decently tight. It doesn't have to be super tight. Pull that to here, just tie it straight on there. That should keep them out. That's gonna be hot. Let me unhook it so I can work around here and not get electrocuted. So from here, I'm just gonna tie my end onto our other connector, we'll just hook this to the hot wire on our perimeter fence to electrify this. Let's go run it across and then we'll put in our step ins. So this is where we're going to be hooking on to the electricity, but I'm just going to hook it onto this brace wire right here for real quick. We'll get it stretched, get it tight, get the post in, and then we'll hook it to that hot wire when we're done. So there's several bad places in our pastures that's gotten a lot of abuse over the years, and up here is one of them around the front of these pig pens where we dug our trench to put in our water line, and just not good grass. And there actually is some decent fescue right there, but the reason we're going to be rotating the steers and the goats and all that stuff real quick, with the goats mainly it's more for the parasites, but for the cows I want them to come in here, eat, kind of disturb the ground with their hooves, concentrate all their poop. We're only giving them a little bit of a section for possibly 2 days. We'll see how much they eat, and hopefully we're going to start growing some grass here. I'm going to give them access to this old bale, let them eat what they want. And if they're eating it, whenever I move this wire, might not put up a back fence, let them come back and eat some more. And whatever they don't eat, we're going to go through and put on these dirt spots to try to cover up the soil to start grazing, hopefully. We got the trench still from our water line that I need to spread some hay on, so hopefully these cows can kind of help us beat that up a little bit, and we can put some hay on top of it and cover it up. So now I have my wire stretched across. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna hook it right here by this T-post. This thing wants to keep unwinding on me. It's not on there tight. So let's see what I can do. Wrap around this knob. That's keeping it pretty tight. Now we're gonna go back through and put in our step-in post. Over here I put our step-in post about every 15 to 16 feet or so. Just kind of paste them off all the same. We're not gonna put them quite that tight. One reason I don't have a lot of step-in posts. Another reason I did a lot over there was to give more of a visual, but they haven't tested that fence at all. So we're gonna spread these out a little bit more, and hopefully it'll be enough. All right, so we're ready to go on red. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab this, put it into a slot, and we're gonna hook it to our wire. And that should be hot. Let me go hook up this one, and then we're gonna see if we can get some steers moving. Grab our wire we made. She should be hot. So I'm not fully expecting these steers to make the full move today, but they are used to getting water up here in this corner. I moved their water up here whenever I put this first strand of hot wire up. So they're used to coming up here to get water. What I'm gonna do is move the water into our catch pen here. And then I'm also gonna use this white trough made out of 55-gallon drums. We're gonna put their feed in here as well. So hopefully they see the gates open, they come in here to get a drink of water, eat their feed, realize this gate's open, and tomorrow when I get here, I can close this gate on them and they're gonna be stuck in there. They're gonna get curious here in a little while and figure it out on their own, and eventually they'll get the hang of it as we're moving them. So let me get the water in here and get some feed dumped out for them. So I'm going to be using this 55-gallon drum that's cut in half as their water trough as we move them through. It's about all the water they're going to drink in a day, and it's also whenever they got some left over, it's not a whole bunch that I'm dumping out whenever I'm rotating them. I'm also going to use this trough made out of 55-gallon drums to move in. It's lightweight, and we can just kind of move it with them. Also have my mineral feeder down there by that other gate. It's got a rope on it. It's going to be going with them too. Not going to mess with it today. I'm going to let them get through here, and we'll bring the mineral feeder on over tomorrow. They're starting to work their way up here. We might get them moved today. So they got close, didn't come in, but we'll leave that gate open. It's not gonna take them long. They're gonna be curious, and they know something's different up here. Wouldn't be surprised by the time I even get the tractor out the pasture they're in here, but if they are, when I pull out, I'll just come up here and shut the gate on them, leave them over here, and I'll move their mineral feeder tomorrow. Well, they at least found the corral. They'll make that turn here in a second. I'll come shut the gate behind them on my way out. Let's go get a bale of hay. I got to get all the stuff unloaded. Get a bale of hay and feed the goats, and we're done for the day. So looking at their bale a little closer, there's still some there to fill them up. Looking at all their size, they're pretty filled out, so nobody's really hungry. So I'm gonna force them to clean that up a little bit more. If I need to, I'll just go ahead and move them a day early tomorrow instead of I had a little small round bale I was gonna put in here. If I need to, I'll just go ahead and move them. They're going here next. So we'll go ahead and, like I said, move them a day early if we need to, but I want them to clean that up a little bit better. But our mamas are starting to fill out some. There's a couple in here. That's one. She's getting pretty wide. This girl's getting pretty wide. She's pretty wide. There's a couple of them, and actually some of their udders are starting to fill up some. We're still not quite a month away. Got a little bit longer, but we're definitely got some pregnant mamas. I don't have any more apple cider vinegar with me, but they need some water, so we're gonna go ahead and top them off. So they're good for the day. Probably won't fill it up all the way. Like I said, we're probably gonna be moving them tomorrow. So while that water's filling up, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, but we got our steers started to move. Hopefully they're gonna make it the rest of the way this afternoon, and I can just shut the gate on them in the morning. But hopefully using this 1-wire or poly wire to break up this pasture is gonna help us grow some better grass. Similar to what we're trying to do with the goats and the pigs. We're just trying to help everything out. But we'll see how it works. Thinking about it just a second ago, I'm probably, the first couple times I move them, I'm not gonna put a back fence behind them. I'm gonna go ahead and put up my next fence, drop the other fence, and it'll probably take them a couple hours to figure out they can come forward, and eventually those cows are going to know, or steers are going to know whenever I move that wire. That means they're getting fresh grass and they're going to come on, and at that point I'll start putting the back fence up. Still waiting on some stuff for the goats. Got to sell some goats before I purchase the rest of it, or we're going to be rotating these guys a whole lot more, and hopefully not grazing down our pastures as much. Spring is here, grass is growing, we're excited, we want to get going, rotating animals to try to better our pastures. But I really appreciate you hanging out with us. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, and we'll see y'all on the next one.